-4 and counting.
Hello and welcome to the inaugural broadcast of our new hour-long show,
Woohoo!
AirOccupy, where we talk about Occupy-related things and news. I'm Liz Myers, and just a disclaimer, the opinions expressed on this show are the opinions of the person expressing it, not the opinion of Occupy, Occupy Wall Street, or any other Occupy group. I'm joined today by my co-hosts. I have Virginia, Shannon, and Jerry. And today we're expecting some guests. We have some news, and we want to hear from you. So call in 386-523-1380. Actually, one of our co-hosts today is one of the founding members of Occupy Daytona Beach. That's Shannon.
Hi there.
Hey, Shannon.
Tell us a little bit about, what brought you to Occupy and how you kind of got going.
Okay. I am first and foremost a parent of two, and that's really what originally propelled me to activism. I'm an introvert. I would prefer to hang out in a closet somewhere. I'd rather do anything than speak publicly, but I worked for a university, basically working in a closet, and I do a lot of research, and here I have these two little kids, and every time I turn around, something that I'm putting on their body or feeding to them or handing to them to play with and stick in their mouth turns out to be brain damaging, full of lead, hormone disrupting, cancer causing. And I can't figure it out because I'm thinking, here I live in, Western civilization. And how is it that we're poisoning our kids without any real, no actions are taken on these companies that are the baby bottle maker that's full of PET plastic that leaches bisphenol A is still in existence. Nobody even says anything. And it was horrifying. It was very scary. It's the children's care products that I put on my kids every day, I find out there's no regulation. Basically, these companies that produce these products are able to produce them and have to be proven to be dangerous before they're taken off the market.
So it was environmental issues that kind of drew you to this at first.
That's what started it.
Okay.
It was, but it was before the crash, and then the crash happens, and I watched basically the same thing go down with the banks. That we bail them out, and they don't get new regulations. Nothing happens to them.
We love that money with no conditions.
Yeah.
Right, and keeping the same guys in charge because they were doing such a great job to begin with.
And they still wanted their bonuses. They still wanted their bonuses after we bailed them out.
They got their bonuses.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's where it started. I originally got involved with a group called Rebuild the Dream. That was my first action. I held a meeting on 2 days' notice, and 65 people showed up.
Wow.
And all of us, that group was actually kind of a partisan group. And as we're sitting there talking, none of us feel like the issues are necessarily partisan. We feel like the problem is that our government doesn't work for us, and it's corrupt, and that it's corporations that are doing the corrupting. That's 65 people, and it was pretty much unanimous.
Well,
And that was in July. And in September, I was going to D.C. for something. It was a Rebuild the Dream thing. It was October 5th, and at the same time, October 2011 was kicking off in D.C., and that was going to be an occupation of Freedom Plaza in D.C. And the group that I was working with basically said to me, you need to go to this, and they pulled together some money, and they sent me, because I didn't have that much money of my own, which isn't any surprise in this economy. So right before that, I'm catching the news, and I see this group takes over Zuccotti Park in New York, protesting the banks and the corruption of our democracy. And I thought, hey, this is it. This is what's going on.
that's what a lot of us thought. When I saw Zuccotti, when they just started it, I was like, holy cow, this is so great. You know, watched it every night on TV, tried to find all the information about it that we could online. You know, I just devoured anything I could read about Occupy Wall Street. I thought, this is so wonderful that someone's finally stood up.
I had the same reaction. I mean, I stayed up till like 3 o'clock that morning reading. And
Right.
I joined all the listserv and all the trying to just find out about it. It was incredible. I couldn't believe it was happening. So I started Occupy, just the Facebook page. Like when I say Occupy, that's what I mean. I mean, I initiated the Occupy Daytona Facebook page, and from there on, it's had a life of its own.
Yep, it has. Hey, Jer, why did you want to get involved in Occupy?
You know, much for the same reason. You know, I had agreed when I saw Occupy Wall Street and saw what they were saying about the really corrosive effects that all this corporate money in our politics has had on the body politic, the laws that are passed, whose interests are being served by those laws. I worked in the financial services sector for a good number of years up in Washington, so I was pretty familiar with sort of the lobbyist written and provided legislation being provided to the highest contributor and being passed into laws. But I think Citizens United, the decision by the Supreme Court, which found that corporations were persons for purposes of the First Amendment, and that in fact money, and unlimited money, being spent in political campaigns was in fact speech under the First Amendment. One of the, I gotta say, as a lawyer, one of the worst pieces of jurisprudence since the gun decision in Heller. But notwithstanding that had really irked me, and I saw this as a way to get involved in perhaps a movement might want to address some of those issues about who these laws, who our laws are meant to be made for, and how the process had been completely corrupted.
Right.
Right. Anything to add, Virginia?
It's. I think it's pretty much the same thing. I mean, you know, I really had the sense of course, Citizens United, horrible decision for the health of the country, and the fact that the financial services industry is just completely wrecking the economy of the entire world and without any consequence. And the fact that combined with Citizens United and the way money works in politics, you know, my sense is that the voter has really become extraneous to the political process in this country. They don't have to listen to us. And that's a serious issue. We need to be the people that the people in Washington are accountable to. It does not need to be whoever can write the fattest check, you know, for their campaign war chest.
I agree.
So, sorry. Oh, am I not? Hello.
Talking to the mic.
Hello. I'm in your head now. So yeah, you know, that's just the kind of thing. And I was really thrilled to discover that there was a local group, because who would have thought, you know? You see these things and they're happening in, you know, big cities far away. So it was pretty inspiring to discover that there were a group of like-minded people who were really prepared to get together and hit the streets and, you know, try to affect some local change. So yeah.
The other part of what to me was one of the main messages coming out of the early Occupy stuff in Zuccotti was about now we've reflected in 2011, 2012 now about this income disparity and wealth inequality that's been created by these laws that favor people who can pay lobbyists to go to Washington and set up organizations like ALEC and draw up the laws that favor their outcomes, whether they be tax treatment for individuals who have seen massive tax breaks over the past 10 years, that we've ended up with a chart and a pattern prior to the crash that really looked a lot like pre-1929 crash kinds of inequalities.
Right.
And so I think Occupy to me was striking that chord as well, and that over the years as I've seen this inequality grow has been a real concern for me.
Yeah. Well, I was surprised because there are so many creative and beautiful people that are involved in the Occupy movement. When I went to the first rally for Occupy Daytona Beach, it was on October 15th, and I was amazed. There were 200 people standing on the corner of ISB, which is, for those of you who aren't from Daytona, International Speedway Boulevard, and Nova, which is one of the largest intersections in all of Daytona. And there were 200 people with signs that said everything, and everyone was fired up and inspired, and it was just so heartening.
Actually, that was during Biketoberfest,
It's true.
and you know, we'd gotten some warnings that you know, we were going to get this cold reception from the bikers of Biketoberfest, and what we got was a lot of horn honking and you know.
Real positive response.
Right.
But, yeah, very surprising.
Far
and
from
and
it. I
wonderful.
mean, the people of Volusia and Central Florida are not immune to the effects of this financial crisis. I mean, you want to start with the unemployment rate. The construction market has fallen apart here as a result of the crisis. Foreclosures.
Yeah.
Big problem here.
Right.
I mean, the people here are acquainted with the issues in their own lives.
Well, hey, it looks like it's about time to take our first call. I'm going to go ahead and answer. See if we do this right. Hello, you're on the air.
Hello. Am I on there now?
You're on the air, yes.
Yeah. Here's my problem with you guys. You talk a good game. One of your guests said, the voters are disenfranchised. But let me give a concrete example right in Ormond Beach where you're broadcasting from.
Okay.
There are two city council seats coming up for election. Both people who are incumbents are running unopposed.
Right.
Right.
Where are you guys?
Where are you?
Please.
That's a good
I would,
question.
except it's not in my district.
Right.
Right.
Well, it's not
Yeah.
mine either,
Good
for that matter.
question.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's fine to talk, and for all I know, these incumbents are in the 1% or soon will be. But, if the 99% can't get it together enough to just at least sign up and oppose one of these individuals, they realize it's not carte blanche for them. We are awake.
Right.
Right.
Sure, you could run against them and you probably would lose, but at least it's kind of a wake-up call for them.
I
They don't
totally
own the
agree.
city.
I
No, they
totally
don't.
agree.
Anyway.
Actually, I've done a lot. This is Shannon. I've done a lot of thinking about that. The message that I hear, as a member of the public is, leave it to the big brains, leave it to the powers that be, the people who have always done it, and that's exactly what we did with the banks. That's what we're doing with the corporations. We're leaving our entire environment, our way of life, our economy. We're turning over responsibility.
We're abrogating our responsibility. It's what we're doing.
And we don't have to.
No.
We are, we're perfectly capable. I mean, we're talking locally, which is what you're talking. Why aren't we capable of being involved and knowing about what decisions are made? I know, John, this is a big topic with him on the money that's spent in our cities and counties, in block
Talking about
grants.
Big John, who has a radio program here every day from 4 to 6. He talks about local issues.
Right, thank
clarify.
you. I appreciate that.
And basically, all politics are local. And to my mind, we have the power, but we have abrogated our power. And everything that is happening to us is our own damn fault.
I agree.
We brought it on ourselves. We can blame the 1%, but they're just doing what they naturally do, greed,
That's
and get more and more.
absolutely
Until
correct.
we take some action, we're going to keep getting it shoveled down our throats.
Great
Right.
comment, man.
That's
Great
all,
comment.
That's all I have to say.
Well, thanks so
Thank
much for
you.
calling.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
for
Have a
being
great
on here.
day.
Yeah. Bye.
Hi. We're going to take another call. Second call of the day. Exciting. Hi, you're on the air.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'd like to ask a couple of questions if I can, two to be precise.
Perfect.
The first question is, first of all, I want to thank your panelists that there is an Occupy movement in Daytona Beach. And as with your last caller, it's always easy to say, let the other guy do it. But if you feel deeply about something, you run for office then,
Right.
and don't ask other people to do it. each have to take our own responsibility. The first question is, what has the Occupy Daytona Beach accomplished since it was first organized?
Oh, wow. I'm glad you asked.
Accomplished at its beginning, middle, and end, but things you have done that have had some impact.
Oh, I'm really glad you asked. Well, we can start with Occupy Wall Street. Liz might be able to speak better to this than I can, but before Occupy Wall Street took Zuccotti, it was all about austerity, that the public needed to cut back.
We're talking about deficits, deficit reduction, how we needed to cut back and tighten our belt and really go with austerity measures to get this country out of the recession. Well, after Occupy Wall Street, the whole conversation changed. We were talking about the 99%. We were talking about Wall Street bankers. We were talking about income inequality. And I think that's the biggest thing that Occupy Wall Street, the movement in general, not just Occupy Daytona Beach, but is what we've done is we've changed the narrative, and I love it.
It's entirely true. And we were actually chatting about this last night when we were getting ready for the program, and we were saying that there was a time, and it wasn't that long ago, where it was really just kind of bad manners to talk about income inequality. It was just really not appropriate because we were supposed to
Classes?
pretend.
What classes?
Pretend that we're in a class. Exactly, Jerry. Pretend that we're in a classless society, and we're all exactly equal. And I think that's the real big opening that that the narrative, as you said, that conversation that it got broached.
Right.
And you hear
Right.
a lot more discussion about it, whereas over a year ago, nothing.
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a real positive thing. And I think, locally, we've actually helped to contribute an environment where people are able to feel that they are connected with something that's bigger than themselves that actually matters. What concrete results we've gotten?
I can answer that.
Yeah,
one.
go.
Concrete. The people in this room, minus myself because I had the kids and I couldn't get there, they mic checked Mitt Romney for his comments about corporations as people. And I marched with my kids over what's happened with Trayvon Martin.
We've held protests against local ordinances that said that you cannot feed, you cannot
Right.
give food to people on Beach Street, which is just insane. I mean, criminalizing homelessness is a very big problem, and we've actually come out and we've spoken about it. I love it.
We've developed with the city and the police in the city new respect for the First Amendment and the ability of people to peaceably assemble on public grounds without incident and express themselves as the Constitution envisions.
Well, did you have a second question?
Yeah, the second question is almost superfluous because they answered so much, and I'm very pleased to hear it. In their opinion, of course, why is the Occupy movement needed in America today?
Jared, do you want to answer that?
I don't want to be too melodramatic about it, but I think it's to preserve the democracy that we all know and love. I mean, I consider myself a constitutional patriot. I mean, I really do, as a lawyer, have an appreciation for the rule of law, and I think that the laws should be made of, by, and for the people, and that we ought to have a sensibility in our democracy that this isn't a corporatocracy, that we don't need to sell off our private assets or our public assets to private entities,
Right.
and whether it be our prisons or our schools or our roads. I mean, there's a function for our government, and as envisioned by the founders. It sounds trite, but I agree with the first caller. It is up to us,
Right.
because we can change it, because there are enough people who can vote to change it. And I don't care about all the Koch brother money or Adelson brother money or whatever in the world. Democracy can function.
Right. Well, hey, thanks for your call.
Well, thank you very much. I really enjoyed it.
Okay, thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Taking another call. Our switchboard's lit up right now. Hello, you're on the air.
Oh, hi. This is Phil down in Port Orange, and I'm glad
Hi.
you guys are on the air. Hi. I think the first caller said something that caught my attention right away. He said, "You guys."
Yeah.
You know, and my concern about the so-called 99% from the get-go was, okay, who really is the 99%, and is this thing actually going to be true to that statement and be inclusive, which requires reaching out. I've been involved with the organized anti-war movement since 2004, and which has been totally ineffective. We have more war today than we did then.
But thanks for trying, man. We need you guys. It's great.
There we go again with you guys.
Well,
is my point.
We need all. The very good point. We need all of us.
This is my point. We're still divided.
Yeah.
And I wanted to share my experience and concern with this left-only need-apply anti-war movement in this country. You know, regardless of how many people get up there and say we're nonpartisan, you know, it's with the actions, and you know, my concern from the get-go, and I've been going to the Occupy from the first meeting at the college in October, is that would this be a left-only need-apply thing? And it's work. It really is work, you know, and we're...
That's a great point.
Yeah.
You know, and it's still... MSNBC on television is criticizing the Tea Party and the Koch brothers, and then you got Fox criticizing the Occupy and whoever, Acorn or whoever.
Right.
You see what I mean?
Right.
And another thing is we've got to educate each other. We've got to know not just the banks, but actually where our, you know, debt-based monetary system, how that works. And something like we're a democracy. No, we're not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic, which prevents mob rule 51%, 49%.
I agree.
It protects it. You know, we've got to
It's set up to protect rights. It really is. And I love your point
Would
about...
somebody please tell that to the U.S. Senate?
Yeah. I love your point that it needs to be all of us. And our group, we've talked a lot about how much we've had... how much we've had in common with the Tea Party. I know I cringe to say that, but in some ways, but in other ways, I think that we all agree that there's a problem. We just don't agree on the solution right now. So I think that's one of the things. Yeah.
You know, from my years of experience with the left-only need-apply anti-war movement, which has been totally ineffective. And actually has allowed for wars to continue, is that at the chapter level we have tried, you know, any of these organizations at the national level are co-opted and beholden, you know, to one party or another, the national leadership.
Right, right.
You know, so you really have to act local, as you guys
You're totally right.
Part of the show's planning that we had a thought that in the future we're going to have a special segment, which we've tentatively named Tea Time, where we want to solicit the calls from people who are actively in the Tea Party membership and to elicit their views and discuss commonalities and differences, and we really want to make that part of this. We want to hear from those people.
Yeah, and have a conversation.
They are us.
Right.
They are us.
They are us.
And
we are the 99%.
We can get beyond the labels and affiliations and the box that we put each other in. I think that's when we're going to see. I forwarded a very short notice a video of a protest a couple of months ago out in Medford, Oregon, against the National Defense Authorization Act of 2012, which still people don't know about. The left, the so-called progressives, alternative media, really aren't talking a whole lot about it.
It's a big issue.
It's a big issue, and we definitely want to talk about that on our show.
But it was a joint Tea Party Occupy protest.
Oh, okay.
Right.
It's a 6-minute video. I've emailed it to Shannon, and I hope you guys share it and
Thank you.
consider it. And
Put it
thank
up.
you for all you guys are doing. I'll get off the line.
No, it's
Thanks,
good.
Phil. Thanks for calling.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
I think Phil has really hit on a core issue, which is that we have been divided. We've been deliberately divided, I believe. And it keeps us from being effective, because if the country is effectively split in half, how are we going to accomplish anything?
Right.
So we got lots of callers here.
We got lots of callers, but you know what? We're going to take a short break right now, and we're going to have some wonderful music for you by Saint Germain, and
We'll
talk
be
to you shortly.
I want you to get together. I want you to get together. I want you to get together. Put your hands together one time. I want you to get together. 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 Put your hands together one time. I want you to get together. I want you to get together. I want you to get
Welcome back. I just wanted to tell you that this show is brought to you by...
Once again, welcome back to the halftime show here.
Oh. Well, this is not the halftime show. But this show is brought to you by the First Amendment. Please show your support for our sponsor by opening your mouth and talking truth to reality. The First Amendment, because silence is no longer an option. But please know, time, place, and manner restrictions do apply. See the Supreme Court for details. So, I think all our I don't know what that buzzing is. Do we have some buzzing? Anyway. So, yeah, why don't we do a little bit of news right now?
Okay, that sounds
Okay.
great.
Okay. Virginia, you got some news for us?
Oh, would we like to start with that? Well, we were talking about, in financial issues, income inequality. And one of the things that I've been increasingly disturbed about is how this, well, in particular, at this point in our history, the idea of thinking that deficit reduction is the most important thing we should be thinking about is just crazy.
Right.
You know, and I just found some stories that I thought kind of illustrated that. With unemployment, now I got this from the Fed, and I'm sure there are more recent statistics, but from the St. Louis Fed, in January, unemployment in Volusia, sorry, I ran back, was about 10%.
Okay.
And also in January, Flagler was about 13%. So there was a story in the New York Times on, was it Sunday?
Yeah, I think
the 4th, about federal funds to train the jobless are drying up. So we say that, you know, people need to get a job, and we say that, you know, if they're in an industry that, you know, we don't make buggy whips anymore, so if you're a buggy whip maker, you need to be trained to do something else, and there are, you know, a lot of manufacturing jobs that aren't here anymore and are not coming back. So it's necessary to do some retraining if we want some of these people to get jobs.
Right.
And this story actually just focuses on one company, Atlas Van Lines, trying to hire drivers. And they can't hire drivers for their big summer moving season because it costs $4,000 to get trained to drive a truck. And who has $4,000 if they don't have a job?
Right.
So, I mean, it's one of the things that we have to address, you know, together, or it just gets worse. It just makes the situation so much worse. And then, you know, in terms of just the, you know, there's a budget proposal before Congress that cuts $4.6 trillion in 10 years.
The so-called Ryan plan.
Yeah, and will kick between 14 and 17 million, 27 million off of Medicaid. And Medicaid is health is really important. It's not just important because people get sick and the effect on them, but it has really extreme financial ramifications and social ramifications when people get sick. You don't want the person who's handing you your burger through the drive-through window to have just coughed cholera germs on it.
Right.
You know, if people can't get immunized, if people are sick, they're out spreading disease. It costs money in time lost from work. It just has a lot of costs that go beyond just, you know, the illness of one person. So, you know, that's something that I just think is a serious issue. But, you know, healthcare is a really big issue. And then just like directly war on the middle class. Someone in Missouri, a representative in Missouri, proposed a bill that modifies the child labor laws in Missouri. Now, I didn't look up the statistic on unemployment in Missouri, but I'm sure they have some. And this bill modifies the child labor laws, eliminates the prohibition on employment of children under age 14. Restrictions on the number of hours and restrictions on when a child may work during the day are also removed. Well, are they supposed to go to school or something?
Newt Gingrich says they can clean the toilets.
Exactly.
At the school.
Children under 16 will be allowed to work at any capacity in a motel, resort, or hotel. Well, nothing could possibly go wrong with that.
Nothing at all.
And then it removes the authority of the director of the Division of Labor Standards to inspect employers who employ children. Wow. So not only so now we've got 13-year-old kids competing with people in my age group and younger in the most productive years of their lives who can't find a job. You know, like, who do you think you're going to have to pay more? A 13-year-old or a 40-year-old, you know, for one thing. So that just like totally contributes to it. But then, I mean, what is wrong with people? Children, seriously? You don't want to have any restrictions. You don't want anybody looking over their shoulder.
Right.
It's just crazy.
And they're going to work in the hotel industry.
I just,
can't think of anything going wrong with that.
Danger, warning, danger.
Right.
I see that we've, we're new at this, so keep that in mind as we're going. But it looks like we might have another caller who.
Okay.
For another call.
We'll take another call. Hello, this is AirOccupy. You're on the air. Hello?
Could you turn your radio down? Could you turn your radio down, please?
Sure. Is that better?
That's great. Thank you.
Okay, great. Yeah. Well, there's so many things that one could talk about, but as far as the Occupy movement, one big obstacle that I see in you guys' way is the total erosion of our rights under the Patriot Act.
Yeah.
And I just wonder if any of your callers, or if any of you folks are aware of the case of CIA asset Susan Lindauer, who was arrested under the Patriot Act in, I believe, 2004.
Tell us about it.
No, I haven't heard it.
Yeah, I would really encourage your viewers or you folks to look her up online.
Why don't you give us a brief rundown on that?
Sure. Well, she wrote a book called Extreme Prejudice, which I've read, and her story is absolutely amazing and riveting. She was a CIA asset to Libya and Iraq for 10 years, one of only 3. The other 2 were of Middle Eastern descent. They were American citizens, though.
All right.
All of these people were arrested under the Patriot Act. Susan was charged with being acting as an unregistered Iraqi agent. Now, the thing is, the reason the government wanted to shut her up, the Bush administration, is that she had a peace framework all ready to go, established with Baghdad. And what the U.S. would have gotten out of this agreement was phenomenal.
Right.
Baghdad was willing to buy 1 million U.S. vehicles every year for at least 10 years. Basically unlimited oil contracts, major contracts to rebuild Iraq's communications, their hospitals, their infrastructure, you name it. They wanted peace. They would have done anything to lift the sanctions.
This really sounds like
10 years.
Sounds like a really interesting topic.
Susan sent all this information not only to her second cousin, who was Andrew Card, at the White House, but to every single representative in Congress. The entire House and Senate was well aware of this peace framework, but it the war drums that were being beaten, the message that the media was, the propaganda that the public was getting about Iraq having WMD and being a threat to us. Complete bullshit.
Tell me the title of the book again.
Extreme Prejudice.
Extreme Prejudice. Okay, well, we'll look into that. Listen, thank you so very much for calling. We really appreciate you participating and bringing that to our attention, because it's really a case that I'm not familiar with. So let us do a little research, and we'll definitely, you know, that sounds like it'll work into a topic that we're planning for the future. So.
It does. It does.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Have a great day.
Have a good one. Thanks for calling.
Bye.
Bye. So, mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
News from the occupation.
News from the occupation.
I have a little news from what's going on at Occupies around the country. Occupy protesters in downtown Minneapolis on Saturday, 12 were arrested when they decided to bring their occupation back into focus, into the city's focus. There were also allegations of police brutality. At least one photographer who was videotaping the arrests was shoved by an officer. He was slightly injured, and his camera was damaged as well. Something we need to keep in mind.
Not so Minnesota nice.
Oh, no, not so Minnesota nice. Here's another one. The D.C. Occupy's 2 camps are merging into one in McPherson Square. So since the beginning of this, they had 2 separate occupations, one that was called Freedom Plaza and the other one that was in McPherson Square. There were some differences, mostly in age and differences in opinion on where the
we gotta live together.
Yeah, we have to live together. Exactly. Where what they wanted to accomplish, but they are actually banding together, which is wonderful news for all involved.
Solidarity, people.
Solidarity. Another piece of news, Occupy Philly has been busy in the last week. They staged street theater performance of The Fat Cat in the Hat in front of Wells Fargo last week.
Awesome.
Did anybody catch Tampa's where they moved in to the Bank of America lobby?
I did.
That was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Singing, they carried a couch in, a potted plant. It was just...
Well, you take away our houses, where are we supposed to go?
All right, we'll just crash here.
Occupy Philly also had a march and rally to celebrate its 6th anniversary. So we hope we wish them well with all that. And in business news, an investment review by Small Cap Network has concluded that even though Occupy Wall Street is coming out of hibernation, investment in Taser International and Mace Security is not a good investment at this time because of concern over the number of wrongful death suits that could take place. This is not a joke news
Pepper
item.
spray futures, people. Pepper spray futures.
Right. And we're just taking it for granted, right, that there are going to be taserings and macings and so on because Occupy is coming back. So it's like that's just a given.
Exactly.
There is going to be violence against the protesters.
Exactly.
And but don't buy. But not a good investment.
Not a good investment because of the number of wrongful death suits.
Right. Because it's non-lethal.
Because it's non-lethal. Right. Well, it looks like we got another caller. I'm going to go ahead and take that. Hello, this is AirOccupy.
Hey, how you guys doing today?
Good, how are you?
How you doing?
Good. Just tuned in and was interested in a lot of things you guys are talking about. And just wanted to say a couple of things on them. My name's Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
And, hey, just wanted to touch on a few things, you know. A lot of times people, you know, we still stay stuck into the left-right thing, and that's
I agree.
one of the things that Occupy is really about is just, you know, uniting everybody and stepping away from the left and the right and just focusing on what we need to focus on, like the money thing, you know, money ruling our government as it has been.
Right.
And it's on so many different levels.
Well, the people united will never be defeated.
That's absolutely right. And that's the thing, is we all have to come together, and all of us have to stop saying, you know, what you need to do or what they need to do, and it just everything. We just need to make everything we.
I agree.
I
agree.
How can we come together?
Right.
You know, if we're standing there and making a change and helping change our government for the better, I don't care if you're a Republican, a Democrat.
Right.
I don't care if you're 2 feet tall or 10 feet tall. We need to change it, and that's what it's about, and we all have to see that. And then on what you guys were talking about with, you know, the oppression of the rights and the people and everything, it's really sick. I mean,
it is.
It's been on a downward spiral since the Patriot Act, you know, and people got upset over the Patriot Act, and then it got renewed, and
a couple of times.
Yeah.
with the NDAA, it's really, really sickening, and you know, I think that we have a lot of frogs that are sitting in the pot that don't see the hand like cranking up all the burners around them.
Yeah, you got that right. You got that right. I mean, you don't just necessarily wake up one day and there are tanks in the streets. You know,
exactly.
It's a gradual process.
Yes.
Yeah.
The other two things that I wanted to say was in regards to police repression. I think and police violence and everything. I think that a lot of police departments, not all of them, have become too comfortable with where they are and what they can do. And I think we need to make a national movement towards police accountability.
Right, definitely.
Right now, police can pick you up, throw you in jail, totally mess up your whole week.
Strip search you, man.
Strip search you, and then in the end, there's absolutely no reasonable repercussion that any human being in the United States of America can take against that person.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Wow.
And one other thing.
Okay.
All right.
On our endless conquest of imperialism across the nation, I would like to point out that prior to 9/11, there was 11 independent banks that were not controlled by the world financial institutions, the Rothschilds, etc.
Right.
Today we're down to 3 or 4. I don't have all my papers in front of me. I'm driving. I'll name off a couple of them that we have left.
What if you sent that to us in an email? And because one of the things we're doing is we're trying to make sure that we provide links on our page to information, and if it's a reputable link, we can have that.
What you can do is check out the links in the abouts on some of the banks, like the Bank of Iraq, the Bank of Afghanistan, and
check it out.
Those were all set up after we went into them. And when we freed Libya, the first thing we did was set up a centralized bank.
Okay.
Awesome.
Good to know. Well, hey, Chris, thanks so much for calling, and we'll hope to hear from you.
Yeah,
sure.
Have a great day.
Okay,
Walk
you
on.
too.
Thanks.
Bye. We got a few more calls. I'm going to go ahead and take this one. Hi, this is AirOccupy. You're on the air.
I'm on the air?
Yeah, you're on the air.
Okay. All right. I've got a question about foreclosures.
Okay.
Foreclosures in our area, and it just really seems like they're being hit really hard. And this Thursday, I'm seeing something in the news journal that says that there's going to be at the Dickerson Center, kind of like a foreclosure, fair housing thing.
Right.
Oh, okay. Well, I was wondering, are you guys involved in that? Are you going to be there? I mean, what does Occupy
I would
do
like to
locally?
go. That's a very good question. Would you read that information again with the time and everything? Because I don't have it handy, but I was reading that, and that sounds like something we should check out.
We have a working group in Daytona that
On
works
foreclosures.
on foreclosures. We've met with a number of the agencies that deal with homeless people who've been foreclosed upon. That issue has come up, but more importantly, we met with the Legal Services Corporation lawyers.
Legal service, you know that the legal aid of Central Florida that's located in Daytona,
Right.
they're being cut back. Their budget's being way cut back, and a bunch of the other agencies too.
Sure.
This just totally pointed in the wrong direction.
Absolutely.
So, it's Dickerson Center, and it starts off at 1 o'clock, and it goes on until I think somewhere around 6:30, 7 o'clock.
And
So
that's
there's
on
a
what
lot
day?
of- Thursday.
On Thursday. Okay, thanks.
Great, great. We'll post some
Yeah,
information
we'll
about
see you
that on our. Well, actually, this is a good plug for our. We now have a website. It's www.airoccupy.com, and we're also on Facebook, and we have a Twitter. So hashtag AirOccupy. So we will put that
All right.
information up. Thank you so much for calling.
Okay, thank
and,
you.
And just while you're mentioning the website,
All right.
yeah, thanks a lot for calling. Have a great day. While you're on the website, next week, we couldn't quite get it, the bugs shaken out of it today, but next week we're planning to have a chat facility on the website so that folks who are listening who may not want to call in can express comments, ask questions of the hosts or the listener of the guests, participate. So we hope you'll check that out at airoccupy.com.
Okay, it looks like we have one more call. We'll go ahead and take that. Hi, this is AirOccupy. You're on the air. Hello?
Hi, this is Garth in Orland Beach.
Hi, Garth.
Hey, Garth.
Good morning, everybody, and
Good morning.
congratulations.
Why, thank you.
Thanks for being with us.
Oh, hey, if nothing else, even those of us who can't join you on the streets at any given time, it brings us to a period of time where we can sit and listen and sort of put together our thoughts and take a look at all of what's going on. It offered me the chance to go on and look at Occupy Wall Street, and I see that they've actually gone in this morning and occupied Wall Street.
Oh, wow. Great news.
It's up 3 o'clock this morning, so they've started that back up.
Wonderful.
And then, of course, when you go to Occupy Wall Street, you can go worldwide and actually get a feeling for what's happening around the world with the occupiers.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not in this by ourselves. Of course, it's all, when we say we, it's worldwide. It's not just city or nationwide.
Right.
But, of course, we can only deal with what's initially, initially in front of us.
I think at one point, Garth, they had on OWS website that there were 1,500 encampments and possibly a couple thousand affiliated sort of Occupy all across the country. You name the town, they had a presence.
Yeah.
And the globe.
Yeah. Right. And we hope too in the future on this show make a call to one of the Occupies. Say, we talked a lot about Occupy Philly, or I did a little research, and on the show we'd love to put in a call to them and just talk to them. Say, hey, what's going on up there? What has worked? Who came up with the idea of doing the Mad Cat in the Hat? Is that right?
Fat cat.
Fat cat in the hat. Thank you. Mad fat cat.
He's mad fat.
He's mad fat. Not with a PH.
Not in the good way.
Well, hey.
I just love having you guys on the air. That's
Right.
a super thing that you put together, and you're going to find that the hour isn't nearly long enough because of all the issues. In fact, we could spend the whole entire hour talking about any single issues, and there are so many.
Well, we're going to keep doing it. So.
Say congratulations, and we'll look to see you shortly on the streets.
Thanks. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for calling in. We really appreciate hearing from you. You have a great day.
Well, spread the news.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
thanks. Bye. Okay, seems like we have one more call. This is going to be our last call. We're coming up on time. Man, time goes fast. Okay.
When you're having fun.
Hi, this is AirOccupy. You're on the air.
Hi, this is Flora.
Hi.
And Myrna.
How are you?
Hi. How are you?
I'm glad I got through at the last minute.
Me too.
I'm just glad to listen. It was a good show. And calling to give support.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think Flora might be putting us in contact with our first interview for Occupy
we're working on
Gainesville.
it.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Occupy Gainesville.
Wonderful.
We've participated in. We went to Occupy the Courts over in Gainesville, and they have an excellent group. They did some street theater the day we were there when Cornell West appeared, and we marched.
God, I wish I could have been there.
It was absolutely superb. We marched 400 people marched on the federal courthouse.
Nice.
It was so inspiring. It was so inspiring.
Yep.
Well, thanks.
Okay, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, you.
Flora.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
I lied. We have one more call. Hi, this is AirOccupy. You're on the air.
No, you don't.
Hello?
Rudy
Hi.
has good hair.
Hello. Hey, you're on the air on AirOccupy. What's up?
Oh, so you got good hair then?
Okay. Well, maybe another time.
Yeah.
Call again later.
Call again later. So we're coming up to the end of the hour. I cannot believe it went so fast.
It's great. It's great to hear from everyone. We really want this to be about a discussion where people can have time to develop their thoughts and put them out there, and we can all discuss them. So, if you got a view, call in.
And you can send us your ideas. If you email general@airoccupy.com, tell us your thoughts, give us your suggestions. We'd love to hear it.
Yeah, and if you want to tell any one of us something, you didn't like what we said or you liked what we said, you can email us at our first name, so it's Liz and Jerry, Virginia and Shannon at airoccupy.com. So check it out, and
we look
we're
forward
out
to
of
hearing
air.
from you.
Yeah, we are out of air. I hope you enjoyed the show. So again, check us out on our Facebook page. Check us out on Twitter.
Follow us on the tweeter.
Yeah. And tweet a little.
On the tweeter machine. AirOccupy. Are we good to go?
This program was paid for by its sponsor, which is solely responsible for its content and the views expressed.
T-4 and counting.
I want you to get together. I want you to get together. I want you to get together.